Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel ForexPnL, where we focus on making big profits and small losses. Today is the 11th of December 2021. It's 5:26 a.m. Well, it's weekend and it's time for me to do my weekend analysis for the upcoming week. And well, going into next week, I have about 10 currency pairs that are giving me some structural levels to keep an eye on, okay? But before we go into the charts as usual, guys, let's take a look at the economical calendar for what we have on the agenda for next week. All right, now taking a look into Forex Factory, you can see that well, I've actually filtered for high impact news. All right, and from what we can see here, next week is pretty loaded. Okay, if I scroll up, actually on Monday we don't have any item on the calendar, but then from Tuesday all the way through Thursday, the agenda is loaded. Right, you see that actually we have CPI data coming out on Wednesday from both the British and Canadian axis. All right, right around here, and then we have the retail sales data coming from the United States axis. And then we have the interest rate decisions from the United States axis, okay, FOMC press conference and all that good stuff. All right, now same on Wednesday, we also have employment data and unemployment data coming from the Australian axis, GDP from the New Zealand axis, okay, and then on Thursday we have interest rate decisions from the British axis, okay, and also from the European axis. So it is a loaded agenda from a fundamental perspective. Please thread with care. If you don't have to trade next week, don't trade. If you don't see a setup, don't force it, okay? Because the market is going to be reacting, to all these high impact fundamental releases that are due for next week, okay? So well, it all depends on your trading style. If you don't pay attention to fundamentals, then go for it. But if you do, this might be one of the weeks where you want to be very, very careful and make sure you're not just taking an unnecessary risk when it comes to your trading. All right. So with that out of the way, guys, let's now go into the charts and see exactly what's going on. Now, looking into the charts, I'm going to be kicking things off as usual with British pounds and US dollar. All right, so for this particular week, what do we have? Well, as you can see here, we had that bounce. Price gave us another retest of the return line of this falling channel on the weekly time frame, and this week managed to close at least some form of a bullish candle. We have some wick to the downside, but then we have some nice push to the upside, okay, with some significant body. So like anticipated, the bulls are now coming into this market, and well, let's see what's going on the daily charts. Now on the daily charts, price gave us that retest right here, actually for 2 days. And then on Thursday, we had this pin bar on the daily chart. Okay, the Thursday's candle closed the pin bar. And then on Friday, we have a little push to the downside. And then price managed to give us another push to the upside, okay, showing that the bulls are now coming into this market, okay. And that's something that I want, because if you guys remember, I'm looking for this market to give me a nice push to the upside, at least towards this daily supply zone. That's my anticipation, okay. That's what I would love to see. It must not happen, but that is my preferred move. All right, okay, so we're getting that bounce now, and if we go into the 4 hours time frame, we'll notice that the market is now beginning to shift slowly but surely. You can see we were in a downtrend, the market was moving to the downside, and now you notice that price is now slowly breaking away. If you plot some form of trend line in here, you notice that the market is now breaking above that trend line, and well, that might be an indication that the bulls are now in the markets, and you notice that price is now beginning to break levels of resistance that we had previously on our charts, okay, to the upside. So well, who knows, what I'd love to see next week is now that since we now got a very nice push to the upside that broke these levels of structure, maybe a little reaction from this particular zone that we have here, and then for price to give us maybe a push to the downside into this now newly formed 4 hours demand zone. Actually, this is a mistake, it should be demand zone, okay. So into this demand zone, and then from here we might get a nice push to the upside, okay. But ultimately I would love to see price give me a break of this particular level of resistance that we have in this particular area. All right, so maybe if we get a nice push to the upside, breaking that, demand zones will continue to form, and we might get another push to the upside. All right, that is what I would love to see in British pounds US dollar as we go into next week. All right, again, as usual, guys, the markets might do anything it wants, so don't take this as the final move that the markets must make. The markets can move in any direction. Markets can open next week and just give you a flush to the downside from here, breaking below this return line. So anything is possible. always keep that at the back of your mind, regardless of how you trade. All right, so that's it for British pound US dollar. Next up is going to be Euro US dollar. So what do we have in Euro US dollar? Going into the weekly time frame, again, we now have a third week of indecision. Okay, price is now giving us some degree of indecision. We are not going anywhere. Could this be as a result of the interest rate decisions that we have coming out next week? Who knows? Okay, but all I know is for the past 3 weeks, this pair has not gone in any particular direction. Okay, we've just been ranging pretty much. Now, looking into the daily time frame, what do we have? We still have this level that I have mapped out right around 1425 and 1450 area. Price is yet to get to that particular level, but one thing we can see on our chart is we're now forming some form of equal highs around this area. Okay, you can see these levels, equal highs. So price is now slowly building liquidity around here. So what I would love to see is for price to give me a push to the upside, to run these equal highs into maybe this daily supply zone, from where I would love to see if the bears will start coming into these markets, okay, from right around there for another push to the downside. Now, also remember that we have this supply zone in this area, so that's something to keep in mind. But I like this particular daily supply zone better. From here, any reversals to the downside, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go short for further continuations to the downside from the daily time frame. All right, now in the 4 hours time frame, what do we have now? Slowly but surely, if you pay attention to these charts, you'll notice that even though we've not been going to any particular direction, price is pretty much moving, in an orderly manner, all right? Respecting demand and supply zones as they form on our charts, also with some form of manipulations. If you pay attention here, you will notice that, look at this low. Price gave us another move to the downside, just enough to manipulate below these lows that we formed here, deep into this demand area, and then from there you can see we have another push to the upside from here. Now, in the process of that push, you notice that right around here we have a demand zone that formed. Okay, we took off all these levels to the upside, all right, with this particular move to the upside. Now, price has given us another push into this particular demand zone, and from here we are beginning to bounce off again to the upside. So in my own opinion, the bulls are generally in this market, even though we are not going anywhere, at least at this particular point. So maybe early next week we might get a little push to the downside, maybe towards 1.1300 institutional price level, and then from there we might get another push to the upside towards that daily supply zone that we have just mapped out. All right, so that's it for euro dollar. Honestly, not much. And as usual, guys, if you like this forecast that I'm doing, guys, please do not forget to click on that like button and subscribe button. Drop the comments in there. I go through all of them, guys, so drop the comments, and that way it will help us to reach out to other traders as well. Okay, so that's it from what I'm seeing now in euro US dollar going into next week. Now, next up is going to be Australian dollar US dollar. Now, for Australian dollar US dollar, what do we have for this week? You can see the bulls actually came in this week. We got after this nice push that we've gotten to the downside for the past 5 weeks. This week we got some form of retracement, okay, to the upside. Now, well, that is not yet enough to change anything, because at least from the weekly time frame we have not gotten any market shifts, okay, to the upside. We just have some retracements last week. So something to call out, obviously the bulls are in this market. So let's see how that goes. Now, in the daily time frame, guys, we have this supply zone right here that led to the break of this level of structure, okay, to the downside. So I actually mapped this out since last week, and it's as if price is now slowly but surely getting towards that particular price area. All right, right around just a little above 0.7200, maybe around 72.25 area. So, well, for next week, who knows? I would love to see maybe price give me a push into that particular, let's say, supply zone that we have just mapped out on the daily chart, and then from there, any reversals to the downside, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go short for another swing to the downside. That's Australian dollar, US dollar, okay? That's at least what I can see. Now, can the markets just continue to push to the upside? Yes, but from the price action that I'm seeing a situation whereby this daily supply zone can easily be respected for further continuations to the downside, all right? Only time will tell what the market does. Now, from the 4 hours time frame, you can see that we have a demand zone that is quite significant in my own opinion. Price gave us this nice push to the upside that took off this level of structure, okay, this resistance area. So well, we have now pushed up from that particular area. Price is slowly building liquidity, below that particular equal lows that we have in this area. All right, and then from here, what would I love to see? Maybe a possible push to the downside to run these equal lows into this demand zone, and then from right around here we might get another push to the upside to run maybe these equal highs, all right, into this supply zone, and then maybe from here, who knows, do we get a reversal from there, from the daily supply zone? I'll be looking for an opportunity to go short as well for further continuations to the downside. Now, looking at that, obviously this is a demand zone. If we get that bounce from this 4 hours demand zone to the upside, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long to ride this move into that particular daily supply zone. Now, in the event that price just opens next week and we get a first push into this daily supply zone, all right, then I might be very skeptical to trade a bounce off of this our 4 demand zone, because the selling pressure might be there that we might not have enough gas to give us a push to the upside, and this demand zone will now just be enough for a bullish retracement before the bearish takeover for further continuations to the downside. But in the long run, what I'm seeing is if we get a push to the downside towards this particular 4 hours demand zone, I would like to see price bounce off from there into the daily supply zone, and from there a push to the downside. Right, again, as usual, if we get price to give us a break of this particular demand zone, let's say the market opens next week and we get a clear break of this demand zone, it's very simple. Just reanalyze, identify demand zones that form on your chart, and then from there look for bounces for further continuations to the upside. It's that simple, guys. All right, so that's it for Australian dollar, US dollar. Now, next up is going to be New Zealand US dollar. Now, in New Zealand US dollar, obviously we have this weekly level that I had mapped out. You can see price is now slowly stalling above that level. Do we get another push to the downside into this demand zone before the market takes off to the upside? Who knows? Only time can tell. Now, looking into the daily charts, not much from this area. Yes, this is a supply zone, but at the same time, we don't have a significant retracement, so I'm not interested in this supply zone. But it's interesting to see that, well, price is giving us a little hesitation in that area. Now, but again, in my own opinion, if you now take a look at the 4 hours time frame, what do we have here? Slowly but surely, it's as if the bulls are now coming into these markets, just like we identified in the euro dollar and British pounds US dollar. Okay, so we had this nice push to the downside, but slowly you notice that this was the last supply zone that we had, that I was keeping an eye on actually going into this week. I was keeping an eye on this supply zone, but you can see we did not get that bounce. Okay, that's why you have to wait for that bounce. It's very, very important. Okay, wait for that bounce, wait for price to show you that it's now ready to start moving to the downside before you click on that sell button. But we did not get that bounce, and then from here you will see that it's as if the bulls are coming into this market. All right, and if I map out this particular level, all right here, it's almost a demand zone in here. If I map that out, you'll notice that well, from here price gave us that nice push to the upside. I personally would have loved for this move to take off this high that we have in this area, but it did not. But you can see that it's as if price is now slowly respecting that area. So for next week, I would not be surprised if the market maybe gives me a nice push to the upside. Okay, what I would love to see personally is for price to take off these highs that we have in this area. Okay, this resistance area. If price gives me a nice push above this area, then upon pullbacks, I'll be looking for demand zones that form on the smaller time frames for further continuations to the upside. All right, that is pretty much my game plan for New Zealand US dollar. Right, okay, next up is going to be British pound, some Japanese yen. Now, for British pound, some Japanese yen, if we look into the weekly time frame, not much information, to be honest with you. It's almost like price is respecting or still building liquidity around here. You can see almost equal lows that we have in this area. Who knows? Do we get another push to the upside towards the daily supply zone, and then for price to drop from there? Only time will tell. Now, looking into the daily time frame, what do we have? Price didn't quite do much this week. Okay, price, we just opened a nice bullish day on Monday, then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, pretty much indecision candles, and then on Friday it acted as if the bulls want to come back into this market. So who knows? Let's see what happens. But again, if we look into the daily time frame, you see that we have a supply zone in this area, and I also told you guys that this area right here, in my own opinion, is also quite significant. Okay, so markets can easily react from that particular level. Okay, but let's see what happens now. In the 4 hours time frame, you will notice that price is now slowly but surely shifting to the upside. Okay, I feel that the market is now ready to give us another push to the upside. And why do I say that? You notice that we've been flowing to the downside, respecting supply zones all the way until price gave us this nice push to the downside towards 14900 institutional price level, and then from there we got this nice move to the upside that broke this level of structure to the upside, okay, disrupting the flow of these sellers that we have here, and in the process forming this 4 hours demand zone right here. Okay, so let me show you guys what I mean. Okay, so this is the 4 hours demand zone, and then you can see that price gave us a nice dip into that area, and we are beginning to get rejections off of that particular price level right around 149.50 institutional price level. All right, and well, upon the third attempt, you can see the bulls came in again. So 149.50 seems to be holding price, but again, I would love to see price give me another push to the upside, taking off this level of structure that we have in this neighborhood. All right, if we get, let me show you, if we get a nice push from here, let's say taking off these levels, I would love to see price give me a pullback to retest demand zones in the smaller time frame, and then from there, any bounces to the upside, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside, paying attention closely to this area around 152.50. all right, and also the daily supply zone, okay, that we have just mapped out. All right, so that's it for British pounds and Japanese yen. Next up is going to be Euro yen. Now, for Euro yen, what do we have? Quite similar to British pounds and Japanese yen, in my opinion. Not much from the weekly candle. All right, we just got a nice push to the upside, and then from there you can see we found some, price probably ran into some supply zone, and we are managed to close this week. I don't even know what to call this candle, but not much information in this particular candle. Okay, now on the daily time frame, what do we have? Slowly but surely, it looks as if the bulls are coming into this market. Yes, we are still looking like we are flowing to the downside, but if you pay attention, you'll notice that this bullish candle right here, it's now disrupting the flow of the sellers. Okay, we got that close above the high of this bearish candle, so the bulls are in this market, make no mistake. So that means this is a demand zone on the daily chart. Okay, I just didn't map it out because it's going to clutter my charts, but that's a demand zone that we have in this particular area, and price has given us a push into that demand zone, and you can see that on Friday, price is now slowly bouncing off again to the upside. Then we close Friday a pin bar, so I would not be surprised if the bulls come in here on Monday and push these markets to the upside. Now, going into the 4 hours time frame, the picture becomes even clearer. You notice that well, price gave us a nice push to the downside, and then we went into some form of sideways consolidation where price was doing a whole lot of nothing. Okay, and then finally the bulls came into this market, push price to the upside, breaking these levels of resistance that we have, these levels of structure that we have on our charts, and creating this demand zone in the 4 hours time frame in that process. Okay, so well, that level, you can see that when price gave us a pullback into that area, we are slowly but surely reacting off of that area. Price already gave us a nice push to the downside, okay, running these equal lows that we have in this area to grab liquidity below this area, and from there you can see the bulls are coming into this market. So this is what I'm going to be actually keeping an eye on as we go into next week. Okay, let's see does this demand zone continue to hold. If that happens, then I'll be looking for an opportunity really to go long in this particular currency, paying attention obviously to these particular levels that we have here, this supply zone area that we have around 129.50 institutional price level. All right, so let's see how that goes. Okay, that's pretty much what I can see right now in Euro yen. Now, next up, British pounds Australian dollar. Now, for British pounds Australian dollar, I'm not going to waste your time. Not much in this one, in my opinion. Yes, price is pretty much not going anywhere in the weekly time frame. This week was a very bearish week, giving us a nice, a nice bearish engulfing candle pattern, and well, right now, I would love to see price give me a pullback to fill up some of those supply zones that we have on the smaller time frame for maybe another push to the downside. Who knows? Only time will tell. Now, in the daily charts, not much. Price gave us a nice push to the downside, taking off these demand zones that we have in this area. Okay, so obviously, this is now a supply zone that we have in the in the daily time frame. This area, this is actually a supply zone and a selling origin. So well, let's see how the market reacts. Do we get price to give us a push to the upside, maybe above this 4-hour supply zone, and then into this area before we get a drop? Who knows? Okay, but let's see how it goes. Personally, I like the level that I'm seeing in the 4 hours time frame, and if you pay attention in the 4 hours time frame, we have price giving us a nice push to the upside all this while, and then all of a sudden, boom, we got a nice break to the downside. Price hesitated around this demand zone that we have here, but then finally we got a nice push to the downside that broke not just this level of demand, but also this right here, and creating this supply zone in the process. So what I would love to see as we go into next week is for price to give me a push into this particular supply zone that we have on the 4 hours time frame, and then from here, any reversals from here to the downside, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go short for further continuations to the downside. That's pretty much my game plan for British pounds, Australian dollar. Now, British pounds and New Zealand dollar, what do we have here? Well, in this particular one, let me take a look at the weekly time frame. Not much. Remember, we had pointed out that price might give us some hesitation in this particular area. Okay, this supply zone that led to the break of this level of structure, and you can see price has now started stalling in that area. Well, will price give us another push to the upside from here? Who knows? Again, only time can tell. But it's looking like maybe the bears might come into this market from what I am seeing. Okay, let's see. But for this particular weekly candle, not much information. This is like a spinning top. That's indecision in my own opinion. Okay, now moving into the daily time frame, what do we have for the daily time frame? Well, slowly but surely, it looks as if the bulls are coming into these markets, and well, we might have some demand zone in this area. Okay, but it's not a big one in my own opinion. Why? Because if you pay attention, we didn't really break any level of structure yet. So this is a key level on these charts, right around 1.9700 institutional price level. This level is key, and you can see we are yet to break that. So this is not really a strong demand zone. Yes, markets might react from that area, but it's not a strong one in my own opinion. All right. Now, if we go into the 4 hours time frame, however, we'll notice that well, the markets gave us a nice push after we topped out around 1.9700 institutional price level. The markets gave us a nice push to the downside, a little hesitation, and then another nice push to the downside, taking off this level of structure that we have here and creating this supply zone in the process. Okay, right around 1.9500, 195.25 area. All right, and right now you can see price has given us a pullback into that particular supply zone on the 4 hours time frame, and well, who knows? Only time can tell. Do we get price now when market opens? Do we get a reversal from here? All right, if we do, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go short. Well, if not, and the market just continues to the upside, well, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long upon a clear break of this particular our 4 supply zones. So if should the market give us a move of this nature, I'll be waiting for pullbacks to trade bounces off of demand zones that form on the smaller time frames for further continuations to the upside. Who knows? But my preferred move here will be for price to respect this 4 hour supply zone, and then from here give me a nice push again to the downside. That would be the move that I would personally prefer. So let's see how it goes. That's why I am mapping out this 4 hour supply zone. I'll be keeping a close eye on it, on Monday to see how this pair reacts. Okay, like I said again, guys, remember this is just a forecast. Always you do your own analysis. It is your own discretion at the end of the day. Don't take anybody's forecast as be all end all. You have to know how to trade. You have to do your own analysis. Stick to your own analysis and just use this Forex forecast maybe as a guide, or maybe as an extra confirmation for your own strategy, or even if possible as an opportunity to see if you can understand maybe what others are seeing, okay, or see the markets from another person's eye or from another trader's eye. All right, that is how I will use a forecast, and that is what I would prefer for you guys to do. All right, so that's it for British pounds and New Zealand dollar. Now, next up is going to be British pounds and Canadian dollar. Well, I like this particular pair going into next week. You can see that if we go into the weekly time frame, price is pretty much ranging in the weekly time frame here. However, this week gave us a nice push to the downside. It's like we're finding some rejections off of our 1.6650 institutional price level, right around these lows that we have here. Okay, price gave us a nice push to the downside, but then we got some nice bullish move that gave us a significant retracement on the weekly chart. So, well, this bar, yes, it's looking like a pin bar from the weekly time frame, but in my own opinion, it's still looking bearish from the other smaller time frames. So now going into the daily time frame, what do we have? I like this particular pair. Price gave us a very nice push to the downside, breaking this level of structure, forming this supply zone in the process. But again, that's a very large supply zone that we have on the daily. So that's the reason why I'm not mapping that out. And well, we have this supply zone on the 4 hours time frame in that area as well. So that's one that I'm going to be keeping an eye on. All right. Now, going into the 4 hours time frame, what do we have? Now, things become a little clearer. You notice that price gave us a very nice range pretty much, and then finally we got a nice push to the downside that broke this particular level of structure, creating the supply zone in the process, right around 1.6900 level. Okay, 16900, 169.25, you get the idea. But in this particular 4 hour supply zone, so well, personally, I would love to see price give me, maybe if we get a push to the downside, who knows? It depends on how the market opens or how the market moves when the market opens. Okay, do we get a push to the downside and maybe another attack to the upside into this 4 hour supply zone right here? Any reversals from here, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go short for further continuations to the downside. All right, that will be my game plan for British pounds Canadian dollar as we go into next week. I would love to see that 4 hours supply zone hold. Now, the last but not the least is Australian dollar Canadian dollar. This particular pair is also looking nice in my own opinion. We have this daily supply zone that I have mapped out here that led to the break of these levels of structure that we have on our charts. And well, right now price is in that neighborhood. So this is looking pretty much like the British pounds Canadian dollar that we looked at earlier. Okay, so like I said, who knows? What I would love to see next week is for price to give me a push maybe to the downside, just like in the case of British pounds Canadian dollar, and then a push into this daily supply zone maybe towards some 0.9150 institutional price level, and then any reversals from here, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go short for further continuations to the downside. Now, in the event that we begin to break to the upside and the market does not respect these supply zones, well, just continue to search for demand zones that form on the smaller time frame and wait for bounces for further continuations to the upside. It's that simple, guys. All right, so that's it from my own end, guys. Hopefully you gained some value from this video, and if you did, please do not forget to click on that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click on that notification bell so that you will always get updates whenever I post a video. As usual, guys, I wish you all a profitable week ahead. Cheers and have a nice weekend. Bye bye.